Hello, ARRL members and QST readers worldwide. I'm Dave Kassler, amateur radio call sign KE0OG, the author of the Ask Dave column in QST. This is the video supplement for the October 2025 edition. Today we're going to talk a little bit about those who live in HOAs, specifically the problems they have with antennas. And even more specifically, there is a bill pending in Congress that will alleviate the situation. I'm going to give you information about that bill, where you can read about it, where you can find the bill, and how you can write to your congressman if you so choose. Let's take a look first at an article that is on the ARRL website. You can find this article at arrl.org/news/Amateur Radio Emergency Preparedness Act reintroduced, with hyphens between every word, including a hyphen between re and introduced. This article talks about the people who have put this in and who are sponsoring that. U.S. Senators Roger Wicker, a Republican, and Richard Blumenthal, a Democrat, and then representatives on the House side, Pfluger from Texas and Courtney from Connecticut, one Republican and one Democrat. This is a bipartisan bill. There is so much going on in Congress these days that it's a little hard to get people's attention. That's where your letters come in handy. There's a few quotes in here about how this is a good bill, and then it talks about how it will help by prohibiting homeowner association rules that would prevent or ban amateur radio antennas. It also specifies an approval process for installing amateur radio antennas and provides a federal private right of action to amateur radio operators in disputed cases. Down at the bottom, you will see a link to the H.R. 1094, which is the current version of the bill before Congress. Let's look at a few slides that tell us a little bit more about this. These are all here in case you decide that you would like to write to your congressman and make your feelings known. There are a few do's and don'ts for writing letters to Congress if you would like your letter to be read and acted upon. First, an old-fashioned letter in a stamped envelope counts much more than an email. Keep it brief, one page, preferably less, one issue per letter. Include your complete address and phone number so that if in the unlikely event they want to call you, they can do so. Here's something that's interesting. Handwrite it if you can. Now, I cannot write legibly anymore. I've got too much of a tremor for that. But otherwise you can type it, but handwrite it if you can. Now, it's a formal letter, so use Dear Congressman Smith rather than Hey Henry. In the first sentence, state what you want. Please pass H.R. 1094. And then if you do have some recommended changes, you can add those too. Say something about yourself. Like, for example, I'm an amateur radio operator and want to continue to be able to use my station to help in emergencies. Or my grandfather, also a ham, used his skills in World War II as a Navy radioman. If you have any special connection with your congressperson, so state. For example, I met you at, or I was pleased to vote for you, or whatever. Now, you are the expert. The congressman that you're writing to is very likely not a ham radio operator and does not understand the problem. So state your qualifications and state why the issue is important to you. If it affects you personally, please describe the issues you've had. For example, I have to use an attic antenna and it does not work nearly as well as an outdoor antenna, which is prohibited by my homeowners association and would make it nearly impossible for me to participate in relaying emergency communications, or something like that. Now, there are also don'ts. Don't write to congressfolk who are not your representatives. They don't represent you, that letter will be thrown in the trash. Don't demand the legislator's cooperation. It will also be thrown in the trash. Don't write a chain letter or just fill in a form letter, because that goes in the trash. Don't threaten a legislator with defeat at the next election. You're not going to get anybody's cooperation with that. Don't be politically partisan. After all, this is a bipartisan bill. And be polite. I mean, you're talking to someone who represents you in Congress according to our Constitution. Be polite. After all, you helped elect this person. Now, let's talk a little bit about the question, who is my congressperson? Just as simple as can be, go to congress.gov. Now, down over here is where you can put in your address. I just put in my zip code and then click search, and it will find your representative. If you put in your specific address, like for example, you live in Denver or New York and you don't know who your specific congressional district is, you can just put in your address. It will tell you your members of Congress. There are 2 senators from every state. Most states elect senators at large, meaning everybody in the state votes for both senators. Some states divide their state into districts, like the upper half, lower half, whatever. So you'll only have 1 senator. But in this case, in Colorado, I have 2 senators. And I also have 1 representative. You will only have 1 representative for your congressional district. Most of western Colorado is in Jeff Hurd's district. I've got it kind of blown up here so you can see the Russell Senate Office Building, the Hart Senate Office Building. There's 7 of them. And here, 1641 Longworth House Office Building, you can use the same zip code for that. Here are some links. You can stop the video on this and copy these down if you'd like. The link to the ARRL website article is arrl.org, News, Amateur Radio Emergency Preparedness Act reintroduced with all those hyphens in there. Now, the actual House Resolution 1094 is on the ARRL website amongst its files. And note the %20 that appears a number of times. That's how HTML codes spaces. But be sure and put in the %20 for all of those. That's all one link. I know it divides here, but make sure it's all one link. And of course, the link to learn who your representatives are is at congress.gov. So there you have it. That gives you something to do if you'd like, if you're concerned, or particularly if you're involved in a problem, or if you have a homeowners association that won't let you put up an outdoor antenna. This is something you can actually do about it. Now, something that you can include in your letter if you want is some sort of request for action. For example, please provide me with your understanding or position on this, or something like that, to get their staff to write back to you. The chances of your congressperson actually seeing your letter are 0, but every congressperson has a fairly large staff, and one of their responsibilities is to read every constituent's letter. A few of the most interesting ones are forwarded to the actual representative, but by and large, they'll just summarize them for the person that they work for. So there you have it. There's something you can actually do right there about homeowner association impediments to enjoying ham radio and being able to participate in emergencies. Remember, you don't have to be in the emergency area itself to help. You can be part of nets that pass this information along, or perhaps find a way to relay, for example, WinLink type information and so on. So there you have it. And until we next meet, best of luck reading QST and 73.